Hey guys, welcome to one more Table Salt, our podcast here at YWAM Virginia Beach. And today we have two amazing guests. They're our staff and they're also the leaders of our next DTS, the Discipleship Training School. And we're going to be talking about some details on the reason what you should do with DTS, the stories behind. They're going to be sharing testimonies. So hold on there. Please share this channel with a lot of people. Please subscribe and ask us questions, because this is gonna bring a lot of ideas, and we can answer things that maybe will help somebody else out there that are questioning if they should go to a YWAM location, or if they should do a DTS or not, if they're doubting what is their call, what they're doing in their life. So we're gonna be talking about this in a second, so hold on there. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you very soon. Hey guys, this is so good to have you guys here. I have with us Maddie and Elena. They are part of our staff here in YWAM Virginia Beach, and they are the leaders of our DTS, our Discipleship Training School. So guys, thank you so much for joining us, taking the time to talk with us today. So tell me a little bit about you. I'm going to start with you, Maddie. Where are you from? How do you end up in Virginia Beach and being part of the staff? Just tell a little bit of your story to us.
Okay, so I actually am from New Jersey, and I always grew up knowing that I wanted to go into missions. And so for me, it was just where and how can I do what I know is in my heart, what God has placed inside of me. And through mutual friends to YWAM Virginia Beach, I discovered YWAM and did my own discipleship training school and just fell in love with the area. But I'm also now living in Virginia Beach. So it's really just a very smooth transition to God's heart.
I remember the first time the other day we were talking about this, that the first time I saw you, I saw your application form when you came to do your DTS here 2 years ago. Is that it? Yeah. About it? Yeah. Wow, that's so fast. I know, this is crazy. And I saw you in the back of the Big House Church, and somebody said, "Oh, that's Maddie. She's applying for the DTS." And I went there, and I think it was the first time actually I saw you before, but it didn't click that was you. And I think it was Ty that said, "Oh, that's Maddie." And we talked, and I was like, I never imagined that you're gonna be joining us as a staff and be actually now leading a DTS with us. This is like amazing how God can get somebody. That's why I think it's so important. It's not because I always tell this, DTS is not a savior. You know, it's not like, oh, if you do a DTS, everything in your life is going to be bright and, flowers. But we know, I did my DTS in 1999. You know, my DTS is 150 students. I have people in my DTS, by the end of the DTS, I didn't even know them. Because you kind of like form different groups and people that you more, have affinity, and I know same ideas, same beliefs. I don't know, because YWAM is so beautiful in this, having different backgrounds, different denominations and different nations. We're super international and interdenominational. That we form, it's just so amazing. I love the life on the day by day in the community. So, but I remember like seeing you there, and I was like, wow, okay, she's gonna do a DTS. And now seeing like how much God is using your life in our community, and such a joy in the calling, and now hearing you saying, oh, I always thought about like, I want to be a missionary. And what is the door? Like, how you get into this? I never imagined being a missionary. I always thought I'm gonna work with my parents and be in Brazil forever. And I never thought I'm gonna be speaking a different language, because the background is so different. And now we see the difference of how God can use, once you say yes and you're willing to obey, how much God can do. Like we see like 3 years ago and now is like totally, I never imagined that I'm gonna be, having you guys or you with our staff and leading a DTS when I saw you in the back of the church. So I always say we never know what a DTS students will be once you kind of really help them and launching whatever destiny and dream that God has for them. So it's amazing to see that part of the story and being part of doing life together. So Elena, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, how you end up in YWAM and DTS.
Yeah, so I'm from this area. I'm from Virginia Beach, but I ended up doing my DTS in California because God called me to go there to do my DTS in Yosemite. And as I was like finishing my school, I knew I wanted to stay in YWAM and like work with discipleship and everything like that, but I was kind of like uncertain where or like exact details. And the last week of my school, God really started speaking to me about going home, and he's like, home is your mission field. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? I was like, maybe it's just a season. I'm supposed to go home, minister to my family. I didn't know exactly what it meant. And then the week I moved back after my school, I found out that there's going to be a new base being pioneered in Virginia Beach. And I was like, whoa, seems like maybe a confirmation of what God was already speaking. And then after praying about it more, I was like, okay, I really feel like this is what God is calling me to do, and to join the team in Virginia Beach and be a part of that.
That's so cool. And is the region where we live here in Virginia Beach is just a huge part of so many people from the first thing you notice is like license plates. There's always like somebody from another state here, and if you ask people, like if you go to you can hear their accents. You can, like, I never thought America, that you guys have different accents. I thought it's just like you speak American, speak English, but I mean like American. With the American accent, like that's the English that you speak. And now you go to different places, and we're like in the southern part of the state, kind of middle, but southern a little bit in North Carolina and south. But you hear those accents, and you're like, how did you end up here? And because of the military area, there's so many people coming to the military and going, and it's just like such a moving people. Always coming in and out of the of the city. But the beauty is not only interstate people, but also international people. Like you go to the boardwalk, and you have like last time I think Elena and I were like doing a research with other people and see like, okay, how many people we have here during summer, because summer like right now is so many people in Virginia Beach, and then we found out there's like 154 nations represented in the boardwalk itself during summertime. So it's not a surprise that God is calling Elena to be a missionary in her own land or her town, because the nations are here. You can see people from different countries here. We did many evangelism in the boardwalk, and we have people from Turkey, Colombia, Brazil, Ukraine, Russia, receiving the gospel and accepting Jesus. And so we know that like God is really doing something, especially in this area of the United States, which is the first landing. There's so many stories. I want to do a podcast only on the reason God called us to pioneer this YWAM location here, which is based in worship and prophetic and treasure hunt and like healing, so much more. But tell me what is, now we were talking about DTS today. Tell me a little, maybe a highlight, or how does because people at home, maybe you don't know how DTS works. Maybe you're thinking what they're talking about, and what this can change my life, how this can help me. I think the biggest question that we have coming to a DTS is the why. Why am I here? Why am I created? What am I doing with my life? What is my destiny? What is my purpose? Which I think DTS can answer most of them. So just explain, anyone can explain that, but tell me a little bit what is a highlight of and how the DTS is formed, how long is a DTS, what they talk about, what is the phases of it, explain a little bit. If somebody never heard about DTS before, or Discipleship Training School, explain how that works.
Yeah, so there's two phases, like you said. So the first phase is called the lecture phase, and the second phase is the outreach phase. So the lecture phase is kind of designed based on like also YWAM's kind of like mission statement, which is to know God and to make God known. So the first phase is about knowing God. It's about knowing him, having that relationship with him, going deeper in your relationship with him. So every week is like a different topic that focuses on different things like missions, hearing God's voice, the Holy Spirit, lots of different things like that. And then there's also different elements to the week. It's not just the teachings. So there's worship, there's intercession, we do evangelism. Like you said, we go out to the boardwalk, we go to different places in Virginia Beach. And then there's also like one-on-one discipleship that happens. So you meet with like a staff every week, you have discipleship with them, you do small group with the students that are also here. So that's kind of like the first phase, I guess you could say. And
who teaches on those like weeks? Like, is that the same person? Is that what teacher? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have different speakers that come in every week. So a lot of them are YWAMers that have been doing missions for a long time. So they have a lot of experience, you know, and just, yeah, really, really great to like learn from them. And then also like pastors and other people from the community and outside of YWAM. So it's a broad spectrum of people that come and teach in the schools.
I'm asking that question because we know we were talking before we started, and like a lot of people, I've seen videos on YouTube and people saying, YWAM is a cult, don't do a DTS. And I was like, man, I've been with YWAM since 1999, and why, like, I never saw a reason not to be part of what we're doing. Like, I never saw any red flags coming up, and unless people are really hurt about, you know, with the church, with a leader, and they really don't want to go through a time of healing, and they feel like that's weird what we're doing. But I never had a red flag all those years in YWAM to say that's like, you know, but because people think, this is just YWAM. It's like they're all in this little bubble and nothing happens outside. So you're telling me we do have pastors and teachers and leaders from the community and professors coming and teaching. So it's not like only a YWAM thing. It's like secret and nobody knows. So it's important for people to know this, that we are kind of like broad and open, and we receive people from all over to teach on those weeks. So, and how many weeks are there?
Typically it's 12 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after that, what do you do?
After that, then the outreach phase, or like a short-term mission, that's kind of the next part. And so it's usually, for us, it's about a 2 months of just serving. It could be somewhat locally or overseas. It's just being open to where God wants to place us. And we send staff along with the students to go as guides, but also just the students can have that time where they take all of what they've learned in lecture phase about missions, about the Father heart of God, about the nature and character
put in
of
practice.
God, and they put it into practice. And so just really loving on who is their neighbor, how can we practically love them and show them the light of Jesus. And so just giving these opportunities, because with the local outreach, with them going to the neighborhoods and the things that they've been learning each week, now they can kind of take the reins and make it their own and go and pray for people and just share the love of Jesus wherever they are.
And it can be, you say it can be locally, like you mean stateside, different states, and overseas. You can go to another country. Like, so what is your, like on your DTS, where did you go for your outreach?
So for my DTS, I actually went to 8 or 9 of the states on the East Coast, and we went to Texas and we got to do like kids ministry there. We also did like homeless ministry. We went to New Orleans, and we got to once again just work with some local organizations there with YWAM connections that they've already made. We went to Detroit and just did prayer walks around the city. We went to Chicago and also worked with the YWAM base there, and just like wherever we felt God was guiding us. But it was really cool just because we did get to go to these different states, and in that we saw such a different response to the gospel message, but also just different needs that were practical things, like the homeless population, or the people who they're not necessarily homeless, but they are not as well off. And so just whether it be a kids ministry or it be homeless or even just different evangelism opportunities that came up. But because of that, each location had such a different heartbeat to it. And for me, that really was so monumental, because I remember thinking, oh, I'm on the state side. There's not really outreach to do. There's not really anything. There's no one who needs.
And a lot of people think about this.
Yes.
A lot of people have this kind of like idea, thinking, oh, United States, we're Christians. We don't need missions. We don't need missionaries. Which once you do a trip like this and you realize, wow, there's so much to do here. And how many people you can find, maybe they're not Americans, but are living here, that are in need as well. And how did you guys choose those places that you guys pray together as a team, and then kind of like you feel like we should go to these places and make connections? Because the logistics, it needs to be super cool to make this work.
Yes. So it was really, you could just see God's handprint on it, because the students, even during lecture phase, we got to all be praying and like where God was leading us. And for me, I just remember it being like, okay, God, anywhere but here. But then he used anywhere but here to almost speak to my own heart, but also like just reveal, like it wasn't just that one location. And so it was really just praying together. And on a daily basis, we would just spend some time and be like, okay, God, we don't really have an agenda today. We don't have anything. So where do you want us to do? Where do you want us to go? What do you want us to do? And I remember we'd be in New York City and just start doing dramas or something that we had learned, and people would start to gather. And it was just like this beautiful scene where we weren't really pushing anything, but people were just curious. And because of that curiosity, we got to pray for people. We got to have these divine encounters where people were just like asking questions, and we encouraged it too. It's just like telling their story and hearing from them was really so transformative to my own DTS and just like my perspective of a lot of things.
So is the importance of prayer, unity, worship, and the willingness of serve whatever need has, because we believe that as YWAM in Virginia Beach, that there's need everywhere, but the need is just an excuse to encounter Jesus. So we as a facilitator or carrying the ministry of reconciliation, wherever we go, we bring people, we see the need, and we meet the need. But the need actually is an excuse to have that encounter with Jesus. And it's amazing. It can be through a drama, like you said, or just doing evangelism, or sitting with somebody on the bench and talking to somebody, listening to their stories. But you also that was your DTS, and then when you were staffing the next Discipleship Training School last year, you had the opportunity to go overseas. Actually, you guys led the same team to Dominican Republic, and that was a totally different scenario of how we do ministry as well. So how was that for you, Elena, to take a team now overseas to Dominican Republic and see ministry there?
Yeah, it was so good. We had an amazing time there. Yeah, I loved it. And we worked a lot with one of the YWAM bases that was there. And our main ministry focus, well, there was two. One was kids. We did a lot with youth, and we would host youth groups at the base there every Saturday and do ministry with them, teaching them, doing dramas, and just loving on them. And then we would also do a lot of evangelism. So we would just prayer walk through the town that we were staying in and talk to people that we saw. We would just ask them how are you doing? What's going on in your life? And then just engage them in conversation. And from there, we had so many open doors to share the gospel. And we saw a lot of people come to Jesus. And then we were able to even go back after that and do further discipleship with them. So we'd go to their house, we would share the stories from the Bible, we do worship with them, things like that. And so it was so amazing. And just seeing the students to engage in that and grow in their boldness and stepping out and sharing their faith with people. And it was really amazing. We saw a lot of fruit during that outreach.
I think the mix of having experience in your own country and going overseas, but we noticed the need is the same. We all need Jesus.
Yeah.
We all need this encounter. We all need this feel valued, and feel somebody's listening to you, and you have a voice. And working with kids, young people, adults, we can see those so clear that God is calling this generation. I believe that we are about to get this turn and it is a cycle, and I believe it's coming. This is the season now that God is going to call out so many young people to be trained and equipped and be sent out as missionaries. We're coming to a point where we're so busy with not only technology, but going, so locked up in our own interests and finances and career and success and this. But what we want to do is actually to help young people, after high school. Because DTS, the Discipleship Training School, is a credit for college. Yeah. So you get credits when you do this school. But our plan is to really get those young kids and help them to instead of like choosing their career based on money and success, really understand their passion and what they're called to in the society. And it can be, even if they don't end up as missionaries in the field, going to a foreign country and with YWAM or another Christian or mission organization, still they can be placed in society, in 7 spheres of society, where they can be successful, but that's not the main focus. The main focus is that they can work as a lawyer, work as a doctor, work in the government, work in sports, in media, communication, whatever sphere, education, church, family, whatever spheres that God is calling them, is that they're going to feel fulfilled because what they're doing is because they're passionate about. Like you mentioned, working with kids. Maybe you're going to end up working with kids and being a teacher, but that's your mission field. That's where God is placing you. So you don't work anymore. You enjoy waking up in the morning and going to your mission field because that's what God is placing you. Or maybe if you have a call to be a missionary and do that full time, we do have opportunities as well after your DTS to plug you in a different YWAM location, which we are in more than 187 countries now, that we can work. You can work in any ministry you can think of in the world, and you can plug you in to that ministry where you can be fulfilled as well and happy and joyful, doing whatever God is calling you to do. So the next DTS is starting September. So every September we have a DTS happening here in Virginia Beach. Maybe in the future we're going to have more, but still have spots left for registration. So guys, please, if you don't know, this is the one of the books, and as the first one, when you come to YWAM, is That Really You, God, written by Lauren Cunningham. And this is the book where it tells about our mission and our organization. Actually, YWAM is not an organization anymore; it's a movement now. So this is the first book. When you come and you're gonna read during your DTS and get to know more about this amazing vision that God gave Lauren Cunningham to start YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And if you need more information, I don't know if you can see that QR code. Maybe I'm so far away that you're not gonna see it. But you can also visit our website at ywamvirginiabeach.org or ywamvb.org and go to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, that also like information about DTS there. And please, you're more than welcome to contact us. And if you have any questions, we are here to answer those questions for you. We're coming to an end on our time here. Thank you so much, girls, to coming and being part of this podcast today. It's a pleasure to get to know you guys and work with you. You guys are amazing, and your leadership skills are awesome. I love that, to see your enthusiasm and passion to disciple this young generation. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Of course.
Yeah. Always. These guys are so much fun. You don't see them off camera. So they're holding on here. They're holding themselves. But thank you so much, guys. Please share this podcast with your family, your friends. If you know somebody that needs a kind of like an encouragement to get out of their couch and go out and be challenged to do missions or know more about God and don't know more about themselves, please share our link with them. And we are here to serve and equip, train, and send this young generation to preach the gospel all over the world. So thank you so much. God bless you. See you next time.